In today's video, we're going to be playing one hole only, but I'm going to be talking you through pre-shot routine and the shot that I'm going to be playing. The main purpose of this video is for you to understand how important a pre-shot routine is and maybe use what I do and figure out your own. The idea of the pre-shot routine is to get you comfortable, make it repeatable so that every shot feels the same, whether it's a chip onto the green, a putt, or one of those 300-yard drives that you're trying to hit. The preparation for the shot needs to be the same every single time. Now, first hole here on the Els Club is a relatively straight hole, veers a little bit from left to right, two bunkers down the left, one down the right, which is just probably out of range from this tee. I've set up this ball on the tee towards the left side of the tee because the wind is off my back and I'm going to try and play with the shape of the hole. So I'm going to try and play a fade. So be aware of where you actually tee up on the hole. Left side for the fade, right side for the draw. Or if you want to really help yourself kind of lower the worry of maybe hitting a big slice, if you actually aim to the right side of the tee, you can aim more to the left side of the fairway, so you can actually give yourself a little bit more leeway. I'm relatively confident, that's why I'm aiming at setting up down the left. And for me, this will actually encourage me to make sure that the ball curves a little bit more from left to right, because on the visual, I won't aim as far left. If I go on the right side of the tee and aim down the left, I feel like I'll be aiming at the bunkers, and if I double cross it, I'll be in there. From this side of the tee, I'm going to be aiming just to the right edge of the bunkers and just letting the wind and a little bit of fade do its thing. I'm going to talk to you about my actual pre-shot routine on the fairway. Well, hopefully on the fairway. Oh, I've called it. Aimed at the bunker, and the ball is cut literally perfectly to the middle of the fairway. Right, when we get up there, I'm going to talk you through how I'm going to hit the next shot. All right, so I've called it and nailed it. That doesn't happen very often, so I do have to put a disclaimer. Obviously, if you're trying to hit a certain shot, it doesn't always happen, but just trying to hit the right shot is always the first part. Right, now into the next part of how we get round this golf course in as low as possible. You're going to need some sort of measuring device, whether it's a watch or a rangefinder. I prefer rangefinders for hitting into greens, so I can be a bit more specific with where the flag is, but I also use my watch for front, middle and back as well. So this flag is 154 yards. So straight away in my head, my brain goes 154, 35 degrees, it's a 9-iron, it's a perfect 9-iron. So that's where I'm going to start. Then you've got to think, right, is it uphill or downhill? Am I coming from the fairway or the rough? Because from the rough you can get flyers. Is it downwind, crosswind, into wind? That's going to affect the style of shot I want to play. Now, thankfully, in one way, for this video, there's barely a breath of wind. There's a touch off that left side. So it's not enough that I'm going to be thinking too much about it. I hit a little draw with my irons and the wind's off the left, so technically, theoretically, I should just be able to hit my straight shot, and it holds the wind. Now then, we've got club selection, 154, it's the 9-iron. The pin is at the very back, at the very, very front of the green. So if I catch this a tiny bit not well enough, I do have to be aware that I could miss this green short. Also, if I pull it a little bit with this club, there is a bunker on the left-hand side. Maybe if I went for an 8-iron and crushed it, I could just land this in the middle to back edge of the green, but that would give me a really, really long putt. So in this instance, I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to go just to the right side of the pin, and I'm always going to back myself to flush it. And that's one of the key things is don't back yourself to hit a bad shot. Don't club up in case you fat it. Because if you don't fat it, you're not going to reap the rewards of that good shot you just hit. Okay, so it's really important that you kind of choose the club that you need for that shot, not what you might need had you fatted it. So my routine, I do a couple of practice swings. I always do my practice swings behind the ball because I feel like from here, I feel like I'm almost mimicking the golf shot. I'm not swinging it at full power with the turf and hitting the ground, but I'm making the movements. Okay, so I'm behind the golf ball, looking down that line. I'm always looking down the line of ball to target. So again, I'm trying to really manifest a good shot from here. Just like the tee, I'll stand behind the ball. I'm going to pick something out a couple of inches in front of the ball, no more than a couple of feet, because sometimes your lines can get a bit skewed. So I've got a little divot here So I'm going to aim just on the inside of it as my straight line to the target. As I come in, I always set the face first. The most important thing, what I'm actually hitting the golf ball with, is that club face. Club face first, then I grip it so the face doesn't move. Then I take my width of stance so the ball position is correct and my base is correct. And then I just kind of set my posture. For me at the moment, I'm working on not making sure I've got that reverse C in my back. I often get that motion. So I'm just trying to settle it and just get it a little bit straighter. So that's one of my swing thoughts or pre-shot thoughts as I get over the ball. So grip, club face, grip, ball position alongside width of stance. Tuck my butt under so I get that thing I'm working on with my posture. One look, waggle. Notice I'm always moving in my feet as well. I'm not static. I'm not trying to just not move. I'm trying to be active as I take my setup. So I'm always moving. And now I'm going to be ready to pull the trigger. And this could be the best played hole I've ever played in my life because that is all over the pin. Oh, so I nearly got away with that. So strike wise, wasn't perfectly compressed. It was good, but it wasn't perfect. It was probably one groove too low and just left of center. So it wasn't perfect. However, because it was straight, I've got a short little chip that I'm going to talk you through and hopefully chip in for birdie. Okay, so walking onto a green, you should now already be starting to assess it, and some of this now just starts to become instinctive. You don't even notice you're doing it. So obviously when you are playing with friends, you can still have a bit of banter, you still be talking, but you'll just be taking a few kind of mental images of what's going on. So straight away I'm looking at that, and from here my ball to flag is pretty flat. There's no real undulation. Now I automatically kind of grab my 56 degree, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. You grab a club that you're comfortable with straight away. And maybe many of you grab a 60 degree or a lob wedge, and that wouldn't be the situation for the lob wedge. You don't need to get height. 56 for me, I use it as like a standard little chip shot that doesn't create too much height. A 50, the reason why I've not got my 52 is because there's more fairway than green. If I use a 52, I have to land the ball just a little bit too short of the green, whereas with the 56 I'm thinking I can still land it maybe just on the green or just on the fringe. 52 needs to land a bit too soon. Now, having lived here for 5 years, I know that sometimes when the ball lands on this fairway, on these fairways over here, again, it depends on what type of grass you're used to playing on, the ball can grab. It's really unpredictable. So I don't like landing the ball too soon on these types of golf courses over here, because the ball, it sometimes can bounce and react as you expect. Other times it can just really grab. So that's a little bit of local knowledge, which I'm sure you'll have as well from your course. Okay, so the first thing I would always do is just start to assess what I've got, what I'm dealing with. My first question to myself, can I land the ball here and stop it in time for that flag? Now, it's not necessary, I don't need to leave it short. I can probably I could chip to about here. So maybe forget the pin and go 3 foot past the hole, because you'd be quietly confident about holding that putt. So this is your length of chip, not this, okay? So that kind of buys me a little bit more space. Now, can I get my 56 degree to land here, have a little bit of check and roll out? The answer is yes, I think I can, if I strike it well. If I land it in here, this is what I say, it can be unpredictable. So as I set up, grass over here in particular is quite grainy. So I don't want to be too low. I don't want the leading edge to dig too much into the ground. So for this particular shot, I'm going to get the shaft of the club more upright. So what you've learned there is club selection, assessing the lie, assessing the slope, assessing the landing area, assessing how you're going to play this particular chip shot compared to maybe what you would class as your standard chip shot. And it's really key to kind of work through those. And like I said, it'll be more subconscious the more you do it. Obviously explaining it sounds a lot longer and a lot more complicated, but I've gone for my shot, my landing area, my club selection, and now I just got to try and do it. Oh, so, but I actually, let's get my putter, feel like I played that really well, actually, to be honest. It landed about here, which was a little bit further than I would have liked. And it didn't land enough to the left for the little bit of break that I actually didn't talk about, and I completely forgot myself. So it shows that there is a lot to think about, and you do it more subconsciously. I didn't really see much left to right breaks, to be honest, but it could definitely be something that you can add into your routine. You could pay more attention to break or line as you practice it. This is a slight false one because obviously it hit the pin, but when you do your putter, I'd have held it if it was further away. When you do your putter, go through the same routine. Go through the line, check the lie, the distance, and then go through that same principle of grip and posture, just like we did from the 7-iron. And if you get every club working in the same way, or every shot working in the same way, where you're actually then trying to go through that same routine, it becomes a little bit more repetitive, which means the swing's more repetitive, which means the shots are more repetitive, which in general terms in golf is a good thing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.